Good evening, everyone. How is everyone doing tonight? Saturday night before Memorial Day, so it's Memorial Day weekend. I wanted to do a quick little live. This won't be too long. Not that any of my lives are too long, but just talking about some things, giving some people some mentions from my town, making sure everyone understands the difference. Memorial Day, Veterans Day, things like that. Uh, to someone like me that's never served, I had someone tell me, explain it to me. So I'd like to share that with everybody. And I'm going to say hi to everyone in a second. But if you have anyone that you know in your family or friends that lost their lives defending this country, and for this live, we're going to define that as obviously something in a foreign conflict, uh, and people that came back and just weren't able to adapt to life because of what they saw over there. The human, in my opinion, human beings aren't meant for war. Uh, so you go back to shell shock, battle fatigue. Now we know it's PTSD, and we know what it does. And I have that disease, if you will, but nobody ever shot at me. So as I say about firemen, oh, you guys are serving today. Yeah, we are, but no one's shooting at us for the most part. Very rare occasions do you see that. But the men and women that do this and have sacrificed, it's a ripple effect in the community. And I want to show you one of the things that I want to show you is how that's affected my community and how there's still remembrances to this day for what we have is called the McKeesport 23. So during the Vietnam War, we lost 23 young men. And they're memorialized every Memorial Day. And we have a boys club. It's called the La Rosa Club now. A guy named Sam La Rosa started it. And all these guys were members of the club. Everybody went down there after school, basketball, after school programs. They fed you, whatever, camaraderie. So it was a national boys and girls club. Now it's called the La Rosa Club. The Boys and Girls Club, unfortunately, took some of their money out of inner cities where it's needed the most. And it's a decision they made on a corporate level. But, if you have one near you, definitely support it. Around here, we wish they would have done what they done. But Councilman Jimbo Berry and several others have stepped up, Mayor Shrepko, and helped get funding for this place. So there's a lot of kids to have a place to go after school. And unfortunately, the reality of it, there's not a lot for these kids at home. So the longer you can keep them out of their house and in good condition, the better. And that's, I don't know where you're from or how it is where you are, but that's how it is here. And that's what this place did. But with no further intro or anything like that. And again, I'll read anyone's name that you want to put up there, a neighbor, a friend, any war. It could be from the freaking Civil War if you had somebody. But let's say hi to everybody first. And hopefully everybody, it's been raining here. We had a couple boomers come through later. I'm looking out the window now. It was thundering a little bit, but nothing compared to what you guys got in the Midwest. I was talking in the Discord with Marv, and she was like in her basement a couple of days ago. And just cover your head if you're in your basement. Put something over top of your head, even if it's a book. Worry about flying glass, flying debris, things like that. But I'm not a meteorologist or anything like that. What's up, Miranda? Miranda, absolutely. Honor the fallen. That's what Memorial Day weekend is about. Hey, Jinx, how are you? Like, subscribe, share. Who else is here? Miss P, how are you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you, Jill. 63 clocks. How are you doing? Good to see you, my friend. Here, Miranda has a story already for us. One of the saddest days was just going to the funeral of Sergeant Matthew Soper, killed in action June 6, 2007 in Beji, Iraq. I'm not sure how that's pronounced. Anyone else have anyone? Well, it's if you've been to military funerals, they're beautiful, but they're horrible, if that makes sense. At the same time, what is up, Brandon? How are you doing, my friend? Oh, that's okay. Hey, you know what? That's fine. If people watch it before or later, I appreciate your support. Always, Brandon. Hopefully this makes it in front of eyes of people that, families that know that their loved ones are still appreciated. So, CJK, what is happening? Yes. We're not perfect. We have a great country. We're not perfect, but I'd rather live here than anywhere else. Clever alt name. How are you? Good to see you. Get a hello in here. Honeybee is here. How are you, B? Great work done. Go check her Billy to. I don't think I shared that yet, B. I'll do that tonight. Her Billy to Kids series is awesome if you're into the Wild West, which I am. It's pretty cool. And like most history, I find it interesting. A lot of people that served with my ex-husband in Iraq and Afghanistan became addicted. Yeah, it's one of the things. And I'm a big advocate for marijuana. Marijuana alone is not the answer. You need to talk to somebody. You need to talk to a professional. You need to know how to deal with things and stuff like that. And they give you coping mechanisms. They put tools in your toolbox. So when things go wrong, you're able to get that wrench out, maybe turn a screw or turn a nut, if you will, in your head and get you back there. And active military can't have it, and police can't have it, which is really bad, I think. But they want to give you the pills, or you climb in a bottle. It's not the way to go. It isn't. And a lot of those folks came back. They just, it's unfortunate. We sent them over there. We needed to take care of them fully. CJK's dad's brother died in a Korean War. Wow, dad was shot in World War II, Nazi Germany. Oh, wow. Well, we thank you for your uncle's service to this country. We appreciate everything he's done. And your dad for taking one of them Nazi bullets and probably getting up and fighting if I knew that generation. You weren't keeping those folks down very long. And it's just the guys over there fighting. The women at home locked it down, man. They were working in mills. They were doing anything that they can do to make things go. Yeah, 22 veterans commit suicide, and that's 22 too many. It's going to happen. I understand that, but got to get that number down. The goal is 0. It probably never will be 0, but 22 is way, 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 way too many. Way too many. Purple Heart, yeah. There's so many people that have done so many great things for us, for our freedom. My husband was in the U.S. Air Force, son-in-law in the Army. Oh, wow. So you have a service family then, CJK. Yeah, well, you see a lot of that, people's families. Dad, grandpa did it, dad did it, son did it. Quite a bit of things that go on. And again, that I'm able to come on YouTube and talk to you today or argue with people tomorrow or whatever it is because of what they did. I'm able to go to the store and grab iced tea in a box without having to tell anyone I'm leaving because of what they did. So it's very important that it's very much appreciated. Let me tell you a quick story. Last night I'm working, and I work in Renzi Park, which is absolutely beautiful. And there's baseball fields are around. There's baseball tournaments going on. It's raising money for our canine team. So it's called the Canine Tournament. There's 66 teams there, and I think it's 10 to 12 years old. And we have about 6 fields. So that's a huge tournament. So a couple of people I knew come across the street from a game, and we were kind of BSing. And they sing a national anthem for every game. They have someone that actually has a microphone and sings. It's really cool. And kind of when they started singing, everyone stopped what they were doing. His kids took their hats off. And there was a kid across the street, and probably 10 years old, nobody with him. He had his bag, he's pulling it down the trail and waiting for dad to come down. I guess dad was a coach before he crossed the street. And instantly, this 9-10-year-old kid dropped his bag, took his hat off, put it across his heart. And 9-year-old, 10-year-old kid. There's so many adults that don't do that. At a baseball game, if that's going on, you wait up top while the anthem's being played. You don't try to come in anyone's seat. You stop what you're doing. We could do that. We could stop for a minute, right? Minute 30 seconds. We can do that. That's honoring people, and that's honoring their sacrifice. But this young man did that, and I went and I know his dad's dad, so I know this kid's grandfather. So he comes down, he's talking. He say, "Hey, I'm Kevin. I work here, and I just want to let you know what your son did, and I think it's a big deal." And I give him a fist pound, and you could tell dad was proud. So I thought that was really cool that people were still teaching their kids this. You need to. I mean, these people should have the utmost respect. When you come back from a foreign theater, it should be like this. If you want to go to VA, go to VA. But if you want to go to someplace in California to see an eye doctor, tell me when you want to go. Here's your airplane ticket. Go. You've earned that right for the rest of your life. You want to do that, you do that. Army Air Corps. Yeah, Army Air Corps. It's cool. Some of the names that they've come, some of the special forces things initially. Miranda was Army wife. Difficult. It has to be difficult. I couldn't imagine. Army wife or Army husband or mother or father or even brother, sister, not knowing, you know what I mean? You hear things are going on and the news covers everything and you wonder. 2 tours in Afghanistan. That's awesome. My grandpap was on the USS Guest. He was a boatsman's mate. And one of the things that he did, they were near Guadalcanal. There was Army Raiders. I think it was Green Island it was called. And they would, lay cover fire. It was a destroyer. And it was attached to, I don't know if it was the Enterprise. I think it was attached to the Enterprise. I think that was the big carrier. I don't want to misquote myself there. Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate that. And I think you're a good dude too. I do. You fit right in with us, the good guys, if you will. What is up, Melissa? How are you doing today? Hopefully good. Make sure we got everybody's comments. Okay, now let me show you something here. And I've seen people for years, especially Facebook and stuff like that. Happy Memorial Day. That's a common thing for any holiday. We say happy to us rather than Merry Christmas, But it's happy to the extent we're with our family. And I'm sure that all those that we lost would want us to have a good weekend, have a couple burgers, a couple beers, swim, get sunburned, whatever you do with your family, and that their sacrifices while you're doing that, just remember it. I'm 45. My kids are 22 and 20. They know how I feel. I'll tell my nephews. Well, my brother's on top of that. He's Attorney General agent, so he's already on top of that. Very patriotic. And it's important to pass that on to them because without us telling them, they don't know. They don't know that. You can't get mad at a kid. Wait, take your hat off for the anthem. Well, no one ever told me that, so I don't know. Telling them that from a young age. And someone told this kid that yesterday. And it was a really cool scene. And his dad was very proud. I think he was giving him a little bit of the business from the game. He was like, that was a double play ball, as a coach. And then he come over and I was like, hey, is this your son? And he kind of looked at me like, oh, did he do something wrong? I said, no, hold on a second. Let me tell you about this. And he was happy with that. So, but anyways, you'll see a lot of people, they'll say happy Memorial Day, or they'll post pictures of people that were in service and stuff like that. And that's all fine and good. And no one's doing it to be mean or anything like that. And it's respected. And, no one gets any hate from me for doing that. But what a former military guy who I worked with taught me and explained to me was this is how they looked at it. So let me show you this quick little difference here. The difference between Memorial Day. Let me make sure we are on the right thing here. Because last time I was reading something and I was reading it. It was hilarious, but nobody saw it. I'm not going to pin my chat. Okay, let's make sure we're up here. Wow, I'm not up here. Let me go back. Here we go. I got you now. I'm not proving that I'm Nikola Tesla anymore with electronics because I forgot to share the screen. I just went to the page that was open. But anyways, here's the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day. Memorial Day is a day for remembering and honoring military personnel who died for service in their country. Veterans Day is the day set aside to honor all who served honorably in the military, wartime, peacetime, living, deceased, blah, blah, blah. The Veterans Day covers the whole gamut. But if people tell people that we're veterans, hey, show pictures of their family, that's absolutely fine because that's great too. That is something we should really do. I mean, every day should be Veterans Day. Every day should be Memorial Day, but it can't be that way. So I just wanted to point out the difference. I knock nobody that does that though, because you're doing the right thing, man. You are. You're doing the right thing. Let me see what else I have to show you here. So as I was talking to you guys before, I told you guys about McKeesport, the McKeesport 23. These are the 23 guys who we lost from the city of McKeesport during the Vietnam War. This is a beautiful monument at the high school that we have. We have a little courtyard area, and it's an absolutely beautiful monument. These folks have all been inducted to the McKeesport High School Hall of Fame, as they should be. If these guys aren't in the McKeesport High School Hall of Fame, there shouldn't be a Hall of Fame. So real quick, there's 23 names here. I'm going to read them to you in honor of them. These were the McKeesport 23. that lost their lives in Vietnam. And if you look at the order is sequential as far as when they lost their lives. So we're spanning from 65, I think it's to 74 as we get down, or 72 as we get down there. But let me read the names of the McKeesport 23. There'll be a service Monday, as there always is, at the Boys and Girls Club, or they call it the La Rosa Club. Now it'll always be the Boys and Girls Club. I used to play basketball down there too. But let me read you the names. Private First Class Norman Wallace Boots Johnson. And I found out the nickname Boots. He was the equipment manager for the high school team. So he'd have, I don't know if he had a boots on it or spikes over his shoulder in case something or whatever, but that's where his name came from. Private First Class Michael Joseph Nemchak, U.S. Army. Boots Johnson was also U.S. Army. Private First Class Michael Dennis Pliska, U.S. Army. I'll give you the dates too. Boots passed away right before Christmas in 1965, 12/5/65. PFC and Nemchak passed away February 22nd, 1966. Michael Dennis Pliska, U.S. Army. He was a private first class. He passed away February 28th, 1966. So you have two guys who knew each other that died less than a week away. They hung out, played basketball, football together, ate lunch, what have you. Private first class James Francis Brooks Jr., United States Army, 5/21/66. Staff Sergeant Tom John Winklevoss, U.S. Army, 5/26/66. Again, you have two guys a couple of days apart. Private first class Tyrone Gregory Burse, U.S. Army, 8/5/66. Private first class James Edward West, U.S. Marines, September 10th, 1966. I got to work with James West's youngest brother, Tom West. Tom West was a McKeesport police officer. He's retired. And let me tell you something out. There was an older brother, Tom's older brother, another West. And even after his brother passed away in Vietnam, he was a Marine. Well, the next West brother joined the Marines, and I get to see him Monday. So this is a fighting family, the West. Staff Sergeant David Lloyd George Moser, United States Marines, excuse me, 10/6/66. Lance Corporal Gregory Francis Popowitz, United States Marines, 1/24/66. These SP things here, I know specialist. I don't know if it's 4th degree. I'm just going to say specialist Curtis Taylor Gay, United States Army, 1/30/68. Lance Corporal Thomas James Jitters Sweeney, United States Marines, 2/26/68. Private First Class Lewis Howard Huff, II, United States Marines, 3/12/68. Major Jack Claire Plum, United States Air Force, 9/2/68. Specialist John Allen Germack Jr., United States Army, 9/13/68. Specialist James Robert Long, United States Army, 3/27/69. Petty Officer Patrick Robert McNeil, United States Navy, 5/16/69. Now, I think this is Gunnery Sergeant. I'm not 100% sure. Gunnery Sergeant Raymond Geibel, United States Marines, 7/27/1969. First Lieutenant Richard Michael Arnovitz, U.S. Army, 8/30/69. Let's go down here a little bit. Whoops. Okay. Find my spot. PFC Kenneth Klein, U.S. Army, 11/7/69. First Sergeant Donald Robert Donaldson, United States Army, 3/10/1970. Captain Terry Jack Martell, United States Army, 7/3/71. Specialist Vincent Edward Gulka, United States Army, 12/26/1971. So those were the, and I'll be showing you some other stuff here in a second too. Those were the McKeesport 23. The guys that we lost in Vietnam. We've lost obviously a ton of people in World War II. We lost people since then, but that's what I wanted to kind of share today. So let me get back up in the comments and see if anybody put anyone else's names that they want recognized today. You guys are talking it up. I love it. Oh, sorry, Melissa. I left your comment up there the whole time. Miss P. We've lost so many throughout our family, multiple wars. The worst seems to be those who return home. Yeah. It's hard. And you can't explain that to people. I know that as a fireman, and we're like the Army people and the military, they're up here. We're down here for what we see. it's hard to explain that to people. It's hard to talk about that to people. You don't want to lay that what you saw on someone else. And even if they didn't see it and they didn't smell it and they didn't touch it, you don't want to lay that on them. So you're military. These are alpha male guys, right? These are ass kickers. These guys got balls like two heads duct taped together, and especially back then. So guys would find ways and gals would find ways to cope and try not to let it out that they were having issues. So it's really tough. Glad my ex-husband retired. He's getting help now. Well, that's really great, Miranda. Hopefully he can, and hopefully your daughter too kind of understands. When someone has issues like that, and this has been through trauma and has the PTSD or whatever, the family knows more about it. They would understand, so maybe they could see, okay, he's having a bad day. Maybe we could try this, or what do we like to do? What does he like to do? How we get his mind off us? What is up, Mustang? How are you? Good to see you. Mustang, anyone just coming in? Justice Angel, how are you? If you know anyone that has lost their lives in the military, active duty, in any war, and you want to put their name up, I'll read it just to give them a little bit of recognition. Thank you, Honeybee. Always remembering to like if you like it. Doing a good job here. What irks me is to no end or those refuse to stand up with the BS. Yeah, that's a very, and the issues kind of went away, but it's a way to, I think the people that would feel that they were getting mistreated and weren't treated fairly, and they're a lot of what they say is justified in that. But there has to be a better way than that, because what you do when you do that is you turn possible allies off, right? People that might have been an ally with you and spoken up for you, and they see you doing that, and they're like, no, whatever you're saying, I don't want to hear it. So I think that was lost in translation there, and that's why there was such a divide about that. Yeah, and they came home and they were called this and they were called that. Man, a lot of those people were drafted too. Hey, the government says go over here. I'm going to go do what I got to do. Some people volunteered, and they had to do what they had to do to stay alive. It was like one of the first wars where it was hard to define who was the enemy and who were citizens, because they didn't have uniforms on, right? Everyone kind of looked the same. All those buried. Yeah. It's hard, but I don't know. I've never been through, but I guess in a way, those families can at least go to a grave site and say, hey, this will be our thing. And that's a really good thing they do there. Toilet, no longer sell. Yeah. Well, there's a lot going on there too. I'm not exactly sure what. I'm going to get off of here and go looking around and seeing what I can find out about that. Thank you, 63 clocks. I appreciate that. That's the McKeesport 23. Oh, I had an idea for the McKeesport 23, and they're using it real quick. I don't want to take credit for it, but it was my idea. So they're redoing one of the ball fields. It's called Stephen Berry Ball Field, and the right field is going to be short. So they want to make a wall. And I was talking to the city electrician, AKA the city facilitator, because he gets shit done. And he's like, well, how can we make that? Well, you got to make a bigger wall. Yeah. And I said, you know what? At PNC Park, the right field wall is 21 feet, because that was Roberto Clemente's number. And sorry, Babe Ruth, but Roberto Clemente was the best right fielder. Babe Ruth, maybe he played left field, was the best right fielder ever. Total, in my opinion, defense, offense. That's 21 feet tall. So they're going to build a wall in right field. It's going to be 23 feet tall. And it's going to be in honor of the McKeesport 23, which is absolutely awesome. And they're building that, and that'll be nice for the families. It was my idea, but I was like, no one else thought of that. That's not a hard thing to think of. It doesn't make me a smart person. It's when you talk about Clemente, you think, okay, what would be a good McKeesport, what number? And there you go. So I think that'll be done this summer. Brandon's baby brother, Coast Guard after September 11th. Yeah, I knew a couple guys that went in after September 11th. One of my friends, Steve Thomas, he was in one of the Fallujah deals. He was a Marine that worked on helicopters, so he knew quite a few people that unfortunately didn't come back. I agree. Yeah. Brandon's brother did what he had to do, man. I was one to talked about it too, but at the end of the day, some did and some didn't. These families lived in fear. Would be, yeah. One of the movies, if you guys want to watch a Memorial Day movie, it's called We Were Soldiers with Mel Gibson. And they actually showed that. And then I think the women were actually getting the letters and going house to house. Well, I appreciate your dad's service, Melissa, and we'll always remember that. I'm sure that you will too. These guys were from big cities and little towns. They were black and white. They were different. They were, all kind of different things, and they came together and they got shit done. And they did what they had to do. And we can't know what it was like over there. There's no way to judge anybody. You didn't know who was friend or who was foe. Hey, Frosty, great weekend. Happy race day tomorrow. Yep. So you think they'll still race? I understand. I thought there were storms out there. Indy 500, which I'm not a car guy, but anyone that I'm friends with from Indy, they're like, yeah, the race is tomorrow. We got to do this and we're going to do that. Oh, that's terrible, Brandon. I'm very, very sorry to hear that. Your brother. Today we honor him. This weekend we honor him. I'm sure your family will too. It's guys like him that makes this world go round. It's guys like him that makes this world safe for us to do what we want to do. And I know a lot of days we bitch and complain about this or that, but we have the right to bitch and complain, right? We have the right to do that. Other countries, you don't have the right to do that. Yeah, I couldn't imagine having someone like shooting me every day, and you just like I don't know. These folks are a lot tougher than I am. I'll tell you that. There's no question there for me. Yeah, everyone's very sorry to hear that, Brandon. That's especially guys, anyone, but guys like that, stand-up guys, it's tough. X was hit by a roadside bomb in Iraq. It's been a long time at Ireland Community Hospital at Fort Knox. Ooh, that's bad. I'm sorry to hear that, Miranda. Hopefully that they can get him some medication and therapy, whatever he needs to get. And, he could have a relationship with his daughter and even a relationship with you, a respectful one. I don't know what happened, what led to the divorce, but it's probably had something to do with it. That's so tough. I couldn't imagine. My daughter's understanding is difficult because some of what he did to us. Yeah, I couldn't imagine. I couldn't. But, you being the kind of person that you are, Miranda, I'm sure your daughter's probably the same way. You probably are going to be able to find it in your heart to forgive him if he's able to make the turnaround. And that would probably mean more to him than anything in the world. So, town's very famous. 3 things invented: potato chips, the Saratoga Battle, Revolutionary War, and tons of tourists. Well, there you go. We know where you are. I didn't know potato chips were from here. I like potato chips. I like plain potato chips. Well, thank you, Ashley. Happy Saturday to you. Continue up with your great, amazing, and hilarious work. We Were Soldiers. Yeah, if you guys are looking for a Memorial Day movie, if you can find that, I think they were the first boots on the ground in Vietnam. Helicopter. I think there were some special operators there before him. So, absolutely, Brandon, and everyone else in this chat feels the same way, brother. Absolutely. And sure you maybe tip one up for him here this weekend. I'm sure he'd appreciate that and the remembrance that you give him. So I'm going to show you a couple other things here, if I may. Get into my Gmail. Here's a short video that I'm going to play if this ever comes up. Wait a minute. Here we go. So this is a video from YouTube that I'm going to play. And this is a guy playing taps, a bugler playing taps. Let me get it up there. So if you guys aren't aware, I want to give this credit to this. Oh, the Marine Corps tribute. Hold on a second. I want to make sure I didn't write the channel down. I want to give proper credit to the people that have done this. This is the Purple Planet Drone Media. Purple Planet Drone Media filmed this video. Goes to their small channel. They subscribed to them. They shared this 3 days ago. And this is somber. This is taps. This is what gets played, obviously, when at a funeral for somebody, when someone is lost. So here we go. For everyone that hasn't come home, this is for you. Thank you to Purple Media for this fantastic video. Fantastic video. I'll lay out and shut up and let you guys experience this for yourself. That is again, Purple Media. That is a United States, young United States Marine Corps guy playing that, and that's Arlington Cemetery in DC. Never been there. Would like to go there. Haven't made it yet. Was there once for basketball, but didn't get to do all that. And catch up on the comments, see if anyone else has anything here. Make sure I don't want to miss anybody's names. If anyone wants to put anyone's names up, we'll make sure we get them read. And catch them back up here. Give me 1 second, folks. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is what it's all about. And, and taps, they play, we've had taps played for guys, and it's a salute. You salute during taps. There were flags presented, you salute. When taps are played, you salute. I'll never forget my grandpap, who was in the Navy. Every time taps was played, he cried. He cried. If it was on TV, if it was at a service, he cried. And he would just shake his head and said, they didn't come back. I had friends that didn't come back. And I just, my grandpa was like the toughest dude in the world to me. To see him cry was like, holy shit. But now, you look back and you understand that real men cry. They do. They don't cry for long, but they do. And it's totally okay to do that. It's better than holding it in. I've heard taps on a bugle. Yeah, it sends chills through your body in person. It really does. It's just, and everything is so quiet. It's when you're in a cemetery and taps is being played, it's almost like the birds know not to chirp. The trees know not to blow. And I know that sounds crazy. And the leaves know not to fall. But for that minute or 2 minutes that's played, it's quiet. There's no noise. It's just, it's an experience. It's an experience you don't want to have to go through, but it's one of those things that's, yeah, same thing with you guys, saying the same thing. And it's just, if you know what it is, then it gets all over you quick. Oh, I'm so sorry, Phil. So sorry to hear that. If you'd like to put his name, I'd say his name. If you don't like to, that's good enough. We appreciate the sacrifice that he made and you made and your whole family made. And this weekend we'll be remembering him, and hopefully everyone in chat remember him. So sorry to hear that. Both my father and brother had military funerals, were laid to rest in veteran cemeteries. The Army band played. Yeah, it's. I heard it at my grandpa's. A couple guys from work that passed away. The old deputy chief. Uh, he was actually a tunnel. He calls. I was a tunnel rat in Vietnam. What does that mean? And he didn't want to talk about it very much. At times he would, but we found out he was doing some wild and crazy shit. We absolutely remember your nephew Phil. We'll never forget his sacrifice. I bet you it's an experience, Miranda. I bet you it's very, very emotional. Yeah, it does. It's isn't it weird how a song like that has the same effect on everybody almost? Men, women, rich, poor, black, white, wherever. It doesn't matter. You stop what you're doing when you hear taps and you go back and you think, of whatever you need to think of. If you didn't know anyone that was lost in any battles or any active service, then just think of everybody. You could still do that. It is. It's. I don't know who wrote it. That's a good. Maybe someone knows. I'll look that up. I'm making a playlist tomorrow we're having a party at my mom's for Memorial Day. I'm making a playlist and I put a ton of Toby Keith. Toby Keith with great songs, and there's some other songs too, but I will look that up. Arlington, Trace Atkinson. I'll look that up when I'm done here. Thank you for pointing that out to me. 63 clocks. Thank you so much. You're the real deal. Thanks for remembering the following and dedicating. Absolutely 63 clocks. And thank you for your super chat, your super sticker there. I appreciate it greatly. And this is doing things like this makes me feel good, so I wanted to share this with everyone else and to share the McKeesport stuff. But if I don't know what happens after you die. I pretend like I know, and I tell people I'm gonna go to Sirius B, where my home planet is. And I know a lot of people on YouTube think I'm from another planet, but your thoughts go somewhere, right? They go somewhere. And even if the families, the surviving families, send a vibe out there. Just give them some comfort. Give them a day of comfort. Let them enjoy picnics. Whatever the case may be. Just let that go. Have thoughts for Brandon. Have thoughts for Phil Bond and their families on Memorial Weekend, because it probably rips open scars. But it's got to be. I would think, and again, I don't know, a little bit cathartic. God Bless America is a great song. And Miranda Lee, everyone tried to listen to Arlington by Trace Atkinson sometime this weekend. After this, tomorrow, whatever, give it a listen. Letters from Home. There's another good song from Justice Angel. I'll check that one out too. You're making a playlist for the pool. Throw some of these songs. You want to have fun. So I understand that. I get it. But just so everybody remembers, and that song will spawn conversation. And then you'll hear details from your parents. Oh, yeah, so-and-so I went to high school with, he was killed in Vietnam. Now, my parents are about that age. Actually, they're younger than that. So, well, I don't know. My dad's dad, my real dad, but my mom's, I'm sure she knew people that passed away. Maybe she'll talk about it. Last time I heard taps was live at my brother's funeral. Oof. The cannon salute. Yeah, it's extremely sad, but I think, and like you're saying, Brandon, you'll always remember that. That'll be something you'll always remember. And it shows you what they'll go through to remember someone they lost. Our military doesn't leave people if it's at all possible. If there's any way, shape, or form they can recover bodies, they bring them home. And I don't know if any other militaries do that in the world. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But our military does that, and it's they even though they're not with us on this planet anymore, they're able to bring them and give that family. It's never closure, but it's some sort of, we had a service, we can go here and see him, or we put his ashes out here when we go on vacation. Every time we go in the ocean, it's like you give them one of these, or however you do it. They also stir. That's a really good way to put it, Miranda. They do. That's an awesome way to put it. These soldiers just don't serve. Their families do too, because they all make the sacrifice. They all make the sacrifice. Cry graduations, weddings too. There's nothing wrong with that. Yep, you got it, Cindy. The ultimate sacrifice. See, Melissa, that's why Miss 63 Clocks loves you. There's nothing wrong with that. I used to hold my emotions in like I was tough. I'm not that tough. Truth be told. Play taps at your dad's funeral, Jill. Well, I appreciate his service that he put on to help us, and without question, bring back service. Yeah, it is, and it's some people are like, well, you're risking other soldiers to bring this person's body back, and they're like, hell yeah, we are, and it's just like, man, it gets you in the heart. General Patton had a quote, and I hope I don't hack it up, but I'll share it on Facebook I probably already shared it on Facebook. I'll probably share it on YouTube too. And General Patton was tough, right? He didn't show a lot of emotion in the movie. George C. Scott, that's another great movie. He does show emotion in that movie. He also smacks a guy in the head for having PTSD, which ended up kind of his downfall. But he didn't know. I mean, that guy didn't know any better. That guy was made of goddamn iron and steel. And I'll surmise the quote. It is wrong for us to mourn such men. Rather, we should celebrate that such men lived with us, or such men walked this earth, or something like that. And it's an old school World War I, World War II guy, and that's how they thought about the guys. And they do it. They're the reason we get to do all this stuff we do, have fun here, talk to people, anything that you do every day. If you were in another country, you might have to ask permission for it. And I know there's things you have to put a building permit up and shit. Like, I get it. That's BS, but it's the freest country in the world still. A closer walk with thee. So if everyone's writing these down, add these to your playlist if you're going to have a playlist. And just throw them in there. And hopefully it sparks conversation, and talk to hey, rescue all the dogs, and talk to the younger one, your grandkids, your nephews, your kids, whatever they are, and say, hey, Leah, we're having hamburgers and hot dogs and we're going swimming at grandma's, but this is why. Because a lot of people, men and women, a lot of them have went away to a war and they've never come back home. And to a way lesser degree, way lesser degree, as a fireman, I have a job like a police officer where, and anyone could do this the way the world is now, but you leave in the morning and you expect to come back home, but there's just a little always, man, I wonder if this is it, and it's weird. And maybe it's a little bit morbid to think that way, but like, hey, letting the dog go, hey, Kai, I'll see you tomorrow morning unless all hell breaks loose or something like that. And the dog looks at me like he knows what I'm talking about. Maybe he does. He might be smarter than me. But to imagine leaving for a year and going away and even longer and not being able to talk to these people, like my girlfriend, she could still call me at work. She could stop past. My mom could call me, whatever. My kids could stop. And you don't know when you're going to be able to talk to these folks. And then you're watching on the news and you see, especially now, all this stuff on the news that these people were, definitely subscribe to Brandon's channel. Brandon has some really good content. He does his own type of porch stuff, which I really like, all that stuff. I think that's really cool. Here's Brandon, my grandfather worship. Yeah, Pat, my grandpa was the same way. Old blood and guts. If old blood and guts says you can do it, then God damn it, you can do it. And there's a story where it was I think it was the Battle of Bastogne, if I'm not mistaken, and those guys were surrounded. I think it was the 101st Airborne, if you watch Band of Brothers, and Patton's army came through. And the guy, I can't remember the guy's name, but the German commander said, "You're surrounded. You need to give up, or we're going to kill you all." And he had a one-word response, and it's the best one-word response in the history of humanity. His response, and I remember this is like 1942, 1943. His response to the German commander, nuts, which in the 1940s basically meant go F yourself. You know what I mean? And it rallied the people. And then you watching the Patton movie and they're reading it to Patton and he's like, we got to go save this son of a bitch. Any man that eloquent needs to be saved. And it was like a battle cry, nuts. That's your answer. You think we're going to surrender? Your answer is nuts. Son had honor being an honor guard while he was in the Navy. That's really cool, Beth. Yeah, and thank you for his thank him and thank you for him doing what he did for us in the Navy. Tony has a Purple Heart, 2 Bronze Stars, and a V device to show. Ooh. Well, hey, we appreciate it, and it sucks that he has to go through that, but hopefully that he knows that there's a whole lot of us that appreciate everything that he has to go through and why he went there So he knows. Yep, that's it. We have a military. I know we have a lot of guns in this country, and the state of Pennsylvania is one of the big places. Everyone has guns. But at the end of the day, without our military doing what they do, we're sitting ducks. They could get us from two ends, really. We're sitting ducks. So the 101 Screaming Eagles. There you go. Band of Brothers is a fantastic show, too, if anyone has HBO. I mean, it is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Maybe I'll watch that again. I'll get some basketball to watch tonight, and then my girlfriend's coming after work. But she's actually into war movies and shit, which is pretty cool. Yeah, Jinx and all the mods. Jinx is always awesome, as always team Jinx. Well, we've been here for, I hope, if anyone else has any names they want to put in, I'm going to get out of here in a few. Please put them in. Oh, it's on Netflix, Jinx. I didn't know that. Melissa started crying last week going through papers. Oh, well, guys, Melissa recently lost her father, and I'm pretty sure I'm right on that, Melissa. And I could imagine, going through that. But you always are going to be able to remember this, Melissa. Your dad was a stand-up dude, and when his country needed him, he went. So you always will have that. Yeah, we all check out. Father Time's undefeated. The dash, right? I heard there was a guy in the military who talked about the dash, and the dash is this: live for the dash. What's the dash? On your tombstone, you'll have, like mine will say 1979 to dash to whenever I was born or whenever I die. What you do in between the day you're born and the day you die is the dash. That means everything. The dash means everything. So, Honeybee, you're awesome as always. Thank you, Honeybee, for your $10 super sticker. Appreciate you greatly. Again, like I said, Honeybee's channel is fantastic. Her and Grizz are doing some fantastic work together, and her Billy the Kid stuff's awesome. I love all that. I'm into that stuff. I'm kind of like a Wild West whacker. Whacker is a term for volunteer fireman, which is like not a derogatory term, but like ha ha ha, make fun of you or somebody that's all into stuff. So if I say I'm a whacker, that's what that means. I thought about hosting movie night this weekend, but wasn't sure if anyone would be interested. Black Hawk Down. On the cord, Miss P, I'm not sure if I'd be able to. Are you inviting us to your house? Do you have any gluten-free food and beer? I might come over. But that's not a bad idea, Miss P. It's not a bad idea, Miss P. Not at all. And if anyone else has any other movies or anything else that they're like, hey, this is a good one. We talked about, obviously, Band of Brothers. We talked about, you could get into Platoon, which was kind of a brutal, gritty movie. And any time that there's firemen that get their weed card, I always use the term from, what was his name? Elias. Willem Dafoe. His name was Elias, and Tom Berenger, they leave him for dead there. He's the guy that Berenger wants to kill anyway. And when Charlie Sheen comes down, like, oh, he's going to start smoking weed now, basically. And Elias is all high, and he's like, the worm has turned for you, my friend. So guys that just get their weed card, that's how I always say that. It's just my little, I don't know. So I'm going to leave you guys to it. Check those songs out. I'm going to do it after this. And enjoy your time with your family this weekend. I'm sure that's what they would all want. If I would go down in a hell of fire, I want people, hey, have a party, man. You know what I mean? Be sad, but have a party. So you're going to go to Memorial Day parties. People are going to tell you Happy Memorial Day. They're going to show pictures of their families and friends that served. And that's all good. That's all good. People are technical with it, and I understand, but it's all good because it's all love. Everyone's sharing love, and they're proud of this one, and they're proud of that one, And it's fantastic stuff. It really is. And but just remember, as you're out this weekend hanging out, put some of them songs in there. Put Toby Keith, American Soldier, in there. All those things, the things that we talked about here tonight. And for everyone that shared their Good Morning Vietnam, I forgot about that. God, man, I probably saw that 30 years ago. Holy mackerel. That's a true story. You could look that guy up. Oh, well, maybe. I don't know. See what people say, Miss P. Gangsta series. Oh, Honeybee going to be getting into the Gangsta series, maybe some Capone stuff or something. We'll see. But I appreciate everybody coming in tonight. Have fun with your families. Remember why you're there. Pass on the information to the next generation so they know. Hey, you need to do this for that. These people, they left and they didn't come back. They didn't come home. And their families are forever affected. It's not 1 year. It's generations are affected by it. So I'll be looking forward Monday to go to our boys club service and don the old Class A uniform and get out there and show people that, we still remember them. And, Brandon, Phil, people that have lost people, we'll be remembering them tomorrow. I don't know if your brother was a drinker, Brandon, but I have a couple shots of Screwball whiskey because it's gluten-free. Not too many because I'm going to fall asleep. I'm going to have one tomorrow for your brother. I hope that's okay. So I'm going to leave you guys to it. Enjoy the time with your weekend. Just remember why we're off Monday, right? Why this is all happening. So I appreciate. Thank you for the super chats. You guys are always fantastic. The chat is always great. I only had 25 people in here tonight, but the chat's just blowing back and forth, which is awesome, and I love it. So thank you all very much, and spread the word to the younger kids so they know, what this is about. We're planting flowers. This is what we do. So I'm going to leave you guys to it. Have a great Saturday night. Enjoy your rest of your holiday weekend. And we all here, I'm sure everybody here remembers why we're going to have the holiday weekend. So I have Gatorade today instead of iced tea because I have to go to the store and get some after this. But we're not even going to say tentacles today. This is a different episode. So we're going to leave you to it. So to all these soldiers, men and women, Civil War, till right now, till yesterday, I'm going to have a Gatorade for you because I'm not drinking tonight. So everyone, whatever you're having, I ask you to tip your glass to them. They earned it for us. And we'll leave it at that. Coach Kev, out. Thank you, everyone.